Hello everyone, my name is Mike Daniels and welcome to BQE Consulting. So I want to preface this video by letting you guys know that this is going to be a lot more informal of videos and a lot less polished than our other videos, just because we want to have content out there for you guys at launch. We will revisit these videos and touch them up and make them a little more professional, a little more nicer, but as of right now you guys are just seeking information and we wish to provide you that. So if you can bear with us with the lack of professionalism and just simply going through the motions here so that you guys can have some content to review and not have it just look all pretty. I appreciate that, and I'm sorry that it's not glamorous. So in this first video we're going to be talking about how to create your first BillQuick database. And I've already done the installation of BillQuick on this machine, so I'm not going through that in this video. If you definitely want to see how to install BillQuick, you can ask us in the comments below and we'll definitely create a video for that. But as of right now, we're just simply going ahead and going to show you on how you set up your first BillQuick database and how you go about actually choosing what's right for you. So let's go ahead and get to it and open up the BillQuick software. So here we can see that when we first open up the BillQuick software, we're prompted with a "what would you like to do" situation. And do you want to create a new company file? How about open an existing sample company or open an existing company file? So if you're brand new to the software, obviously you're going to want to go ahead and create a new company file. But if you're previous to the software, you should already be used to this screen and you should know exactly what to do. So we're going to go ahead and start with creating a new company file. Now if we look close here, we can see that there's two options when we create a new company file. Use standard database or use a SQL Server database. Now what is SQL Server? Well, SQL Server is a little bit more powerful of a database platform that your IT guy or we can help you set up, and it's a lot more robust. Now let's talk about that for a quick second. SQL Server itself, there's basically two versions, think of it that way. There's a paid for version and there's a non-paid for version. Now in order to use the paid for version, even if you wanted to spend the money and use the paid for version of SQL Server so you have the biggest, baddest backend that you can have, unfortunately you need to make sure that you're also on the BillQuick Enterprise software. BillQuick, BQE and BillQuick, BQE software and BillQuick, they definitely restrict you from using the enterprise grade SQL Server stuff with using the BillQuick Pro. You're not able to do that. So, but if you choose the free version, which for the most part up to about 40 people, depending on your database size, should do you just fine. And with that, you can use the BillQuick Pro software, and the SQL Server is absolutely free. And that is called SQL Express. So we're going to go ahead and select the standard database option first. Then we're going to come back in and use the actual SQL Server option because we actually want a SQL Server on our database. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create a new company file, leaving that use standard database checked. And it's going to ask us where we want to store this company file. Now if you've used QuickBooks in the past or even Microsoft Access, which is basically what this database is, then you'll be very familiar with this kind of screen where it's just basically a file dialog asking you where you want to save this new company file or database. So if you are brand new to the software and you have multiple users that intend to use the software, putting in their time or expenses or management, you want to make sure you save this database file in a shared location. Now, I also recommend that if you use this file, yes, you can always upgrade to SQL Server later on if that's one of your questions, but I recommend that if you are more than 5 users, then you definitely use the SQL Server option. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and actually hit the cancel button here, but again, make sure if you have multiple users going to be connecting to this database, you share it in your on some kind of shared network, a map drive or a NAS box or whatever. Make sure you definitely put it in a shared location so that way all of your users can access that file. You do not need to copy the whole program files directory as some companies do to each person's computer. You actually need to install BillQuick on each person's computer, and after you do that, you would then go ahead and have them connect to this file. I'm gonna hit the cancel button right now, and I'll come back to it when we're on that welcoming screen. Alright, and we're back. So we're gonna go hit the Use SQL Server option this time. Now, if you don't know about SQL Server and you want to find out more and maybe have your IT guy give it a whack and try to install it and configure it, definitely go ahead and check out our video that'll be flashing on the YouTube card right now, and you'll be able to look on how to install SQL Server so that you can utilize it with BillQuick. For now, we're going to go and hit that Create New Company file since we've already done that. And you're going to see that you're prompted, hey, you're using BillQuick SQL Server Database for the first time. It seems that you should review the BillQuick Enterprise section of the help file. Now, again, that's a little misleading because with BillQuick Pro, you can use SQL Server Express, which is completely free. You do not need Enterprise. So we're going to hit the OK button, and we're going to go ahead and put in our credentials. Now, if your IT guy should have already given you this, so I'm not going to go over exactly what's going on here because he should have given you this. So just know that he should give you all 4 pieces of information here. If he doesn't, make sure you get that from him or her. SQL Server name, the user ID for the SQL Server that can create a database and assign a schema. That's very important. Basically, a big admin. And then the password for that admin. And then whatever database you want to name it. Now, he will not or she will not create the BillQuick database. You will. And that's the reason why we need that user ID and password to be an administrative account. So we're going to go ahead and type in our details here. And me personally, what I like to do for my database, I always just call it the product name dash the product year. So in this case, I'm using the 27 version of the software, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm using the BillQuick, and I'm just going to hit the OK button. It's going to go ahead and create my database, and after it's done, it's going to go ahead and prompt me with the same prompt if you would have been using the standard database as well. So either way, you'll get this prompt here. We're going to go ahead and walk through this together. So it's just a nice little welcome screen telling you, hey, welcome to BillQuick. We're going to click on the next button. Now here we have business types. Now it's very important you select which business type you are actually using, or in I should say, because what it does is it actually helps fast track the terminology inside the software for you. So for example, if you're an attorney, you might consider a project a matter, while if you're a CPA or an accountant, you might consider a project an engagement, while architects consider projects projects. So it's very, very important that you select which industry that you're in here to help fast track that terminology. For example, architects might consider an activity code to be a task code, while an accountant might call it a cost code. So again, different little things, different little terminologies between different industries. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and select that we're an architect, and we'll move forward that way. We'll click on the next button. Now, these are all that cost codes, task codes that I was talking about, all the different things that you can input during time and expense. So when you're inputting your time, are you doing architectural design? Or when you're inputting your expense, are you doing blueprinting? What are you doing, right? So it really depends on what it is that you're doing, both either time or expense. And these codes are there to help you. Now, personally, I recommend that you actually skip this section. Maybe review it a little bit, just kind of get familiar with it, but skip it overall. You can always come back to this list later on in the software and add them if you really choose to. But I really wholeheartedly believe you should review these, use them as reference, but make your own list if you don't already have one. Okay? So for now, I'm going to go ahead and hit the exclude all button, and then I'm going to click on next. And here's that part I was talking about, the different terminologies, right? Employee, client, project, activity, etc. So as you can see here, as an employee, I can refer to it as employee, I can refer to it as staff, timekeeper, worker, teacher, etc., depending on the industry I am in. Now, keep in mind, these are just general suggestions right now. You're not able to type in these boxes right now, but if you want to call employee your buddy, you can call it that later on in the software. You can customize this to whatever you'd like. So we're going to go ahead and skip this for now. That looks all good for a standard architect. And we're going to go ahead and just type in our company name here. So we are BQE Consulting. Now, it's very, very, very important that you type this name in exactly how you registered it with BillQuick and BQE software. Make sure you type it exactly how you register, or you will not be able to register your product. Very, very important. Okay, guys? So we're going to go and switch on forward and hit the next button. And we come to the country. Now, very important, you select which country that you're in, because it does help set up a lot of regional information and a lot of currency information. So do not skip this and just leave it on United States. Please make sure you select the correct country. Hit the next button, and we're going to see that use time entry smart time entry evaluation. Please go ahead and leave this checked. About 98% of people actually use this functionality. It's very rare that you'll ever not use this functionality. If you want to get into a huge conversation about it later on, drop me a comment in the description below, and we'll go ahead and actually try to get in that conversation why you may or may not want to use this particular function. But for now, we're going to stick with the masses and just click on the next button. Smallest time increment. So for quick little explanation, 0.25, 0.5, 0.75, 15 minutes. 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, not 0.25, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, you're going to go 6 minutes. 0.1, 0.2, 0.25, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.75, or 7.75, you're going to want to go down to 3 minutes. Okay? Make sure you select it. Architects normally bill in a quarter of an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it 15 minutes. And here we have the first day of the week. Make sure, depending on how when you look at a calendar, you want to input your time on a calendar, Sunday through Monday, Monday through Sunday, however you want to look at it, make sure you select that accordingly in this here. Okay? Click on next. Late fees. Do not freak out that there's something here. You may not do late fees at all. You may have it kind of threatening or something like that. If you threaten with them, put what you threaten with here. Do not worry, they will not get enacted. You must enact late fees yourself manually inside the BillQuick platform. So, but this will be what is used by default. You can always change it even by project to change it later on. So do not change this to 0. Please leave this in there and put whatever you guys normally threaten with or what's in your contract, because again, you do have to enact late fees manually. We'll click on the next button. The last invoice number, again, if you do not know your last invoice number offhand, just skip it for now. You can always change it later. It's in the global settings under the billing section. So we're going to go and skip this for now and click on the next button, and we're going to hit the finish button. Alright, we're going to be prompted now with a setup checklist. I highly recommend that you guys skip this checklist because it is using nothing but wizards, which doesn't give you enough information to make educated choices. So I really highly suggest you skip this, and I will not be covering this because I do not think that you should go through a wizard. I think that you should be more educated and make those educated decisions after having the information provided to you. So we're going to go and skip it for now. And finally, we're getting to the product activation. You're basically going to go ahead and click on the already purchased button and type in your license key and registration key. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll get back to you when I'm done, okay? So as you can see, I finished up my licensing and registration keys, and I'm presented with the company screen here. Make sure you go ahead and fill out whatever company information here that you want to show on an invoice. Do not fill out more, because everything you see here will end up on an invoice. So if you don't want your website, don't fill your website. You don't want your email, don't fill your email, etc., etc. So this has been the conclusion to how to create your first BillQuick database. And if you liked our content, please smash on that like button and make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more future content that we're providing to you guys. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Until next video.